In this video, I'm going to make one of these Damascus steel and blue anodized titanium rings. The ingredients I'll be using to make this ring are some stainless Damascus steel from Damasteel labs. The pattern of the steel I just showed you is called Fenja, but I'm going to make another one with this pattern today, which is called Heimskringla. It's a really beautiful, like, dense twist type of pattern and just looks really sexy. I'll also be using this titanium ring core that my boy Dan from Sangreal Rings turned for me. Big shout out, Dan. Go and check him out. And throughout this entire process, every stage feels like absolute magic to me. From machining through bits of steel like they're butter, to etching pieces of Damascus steel to bring out the patterns, right the way to making the titanium magically change colour with anodising. If ever there was a project that made me feel like a wizard, this would definitely be it. Alright, so before we go into any of the fancy stuff, we need to do some measuring. So the outside diameter of this piece of titanium, I measured it up at about 21.72 millimeters. So now we need to machine a bit of steel with an inside diameter of 21.75 millimeters. Just give it a little bit of clearance so we can stick the titanium into it with some glue, and then just measured up. I want the wall thickness of the Damascus to be about 1 mil thick, so just added 1 mil to either side of that inside diameter to get 23.85, and hopefully we should have a ring with a nice profile and all fits together perfectly. In theory, we'll see what happens. Okay, now I'm going to take you over there. Yes, over there, where we will drill some holes in some steel. I've machined this piece of Damascus. It's looking pretty good. Got a nice taper on the outside edges. It fits perfectly on the titanium. Now I'm just going to go ahead and just sand it to give it a nice surface finish. pretty shiny already. So I've just finished up the Damascus ring before it's etched, basically. Got a nice surface finish on there. All I did was went over with a few grits of sandpaper, gradually working my way up to 1200 grit, and then polished the outside just with a bit of polishing compound on my rotary tool. The inside is quite rough from the ring mandrel, but that doesn't matter because that's going to get glued into the titanium bit anyway. Yeah, looking good so far. Let's go and work on the titanium. Right, both of these bits have been machined. Here's the titanium, here's the Damascus. Bring you in a bit closer. I've scuffed up and kind of cross-hatched the outer surface of the titanium and the inner surface of the Damascus. This will give the glue a bit more surface area to kind of grip onto. We should get like a pretty much a mechanical fit, but I'm going to put a bit of epoxy resin in there anyway for good measure. So let's go and do a glue up roll. So glue up is done. Now I just need to take a craft knife and just clean off any excess glue. This will keep me occupied for a few minutes. Yes, the glue up is complete. I've gone over, repolished this, and cleaned up the edges, and it's looking good. So it just looks like a normal ring at the moment, but oh god damn it. But now it's time for the most exciting part of the process. We're gonna reveal the sexy pattern in that Damascus steel, and we're going to do that by etching it in ferric chloride acid. This is a jar of acid, ferric chloride. I've just put it in like a pan with some hot water from the kettle just to kind of heat the acid up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this in there. And I'm going to leave that for 1 hour. Damascus steel is made with 2 steel alloys. This is a stainless Damascus, so it's made with 316 and 304 steel alloys. And the magicians over at Damasteel lab, they have this whole process where they kind of mix them together and twist them up into various different cool patterns. So when you put a ring like this, or a piece of Damascus steel, into an acid bath, one of the steel alloys will get eaten away faster than the other one, which reveals a sexy pattern. So I'm about to have a sandwich and watch an episode of Stranger Things, and then I'll come back in an hour and we'll see what the ring looks like. Oh, come on, it's nearly time, I can't wait! The time is upon us where the steel must be removed from the acid bath. It is looking sexy. Now to neutralize the acid, we chuck it in there. That's baking soda and water. Shake a bake! So at the moment you see that's just come out of the acid bath, and it looks pretty washed out, that outer steel layer, but the titanium is unaffected. But what we'll do now is just run over this with a green polishing compound, and that should bring everything to life. Sweet, so that's been polished now, and I've just given it a little scrub with like a toothbrush and a bit of kitchen degreaser. But I want to show you this because I find it vaguely satisfying every time I do it. Okay, so I need to clean the polishing compound off this ring, and to do that I'm going to use this, which is an ultrasonic cleaner. Ultrasonic cleaning uses cavitation bubbles induced by high frequency pressure i.e. sound waves, to agitate a liquid, in this case water. The agitation process produces high forces on contaminants adhering to substrates like metals, plastics, glass, rubber and ceramics. And what I really enjoy about it is when you first put the piece in, and you press go, and this happens. I don't know what it is, I just find it satisfying to watch all of the darkness seeping out of the ring. Maybe it's just me, who knows? Okay, the ring is nearly ready. All we need to do is anodize the inside of the ring to turn the titanium blue. So let me show you this easy process and my pretty simple setup. There is some complicated science behind this sort of thing, but I'll just keep it simple for this one. We're just going to turn the titanium blue. Pretty much we're going to make a alkaline anodizing bath. So I've just got here a little glass dish with some standard household baking soda in there. I'll fill that up then with deionized water. Pretty much has to be deionized water, or it won't work. So we spray that in. And then what we're going to do is run an electrical current through the bath. So I've just got 3 9-volt batteries connected up. There is like a scale for anodizing titanium where different amounts of voltage will give you different colors. I want blue, so this is like 27 volts, which is the perfect amount. Then I'll attach my black wire to the negative part of the battery, and then attach the other clip to this steel fork, high tech, and then this will go in there. Then you take a piece of titanium wire, it has to be titanium or it won't work, and you connect that to the red wire. Alright, and then that is attached to the ring, and this then basically has to be touching the titanium portion of the ring at all times, and we just dip it in and it will turn blue. So yeah, sorry, I'm not exactly a science teacher and I know it, but this process has worked before so hopefully it'll work again. So let's just crack on and see if we can anodize this titanium portion of the ring. Okay, this should change pretty quick. Here we go. You may have noticed that that didn't actually work, and now I found myself in a bit of a pickle. But I'm an honest guy, and I'll show you when I make a mistake. I don't mind. It's all a learning experience, as annoying as it actually is. But what I think has happened is the steel attached to the titanium is like sucking away some of the current, which is stopping the anodizing from working. It's really weird because I anodized this one before in exactly the same way and it worked. So I'm going to anodize this one again, just as an experiment. Whoops. And I'll quickly machine a new bit of steel, and I'll have to anodize that bit of titanium separately to the steel before assembling. So that one worked, absolutely no problem at all. It's kind of annoying that that worked, and it doesn't work with the other pattern. I'm not sure why that is. I have no explanation. I think maybe perhaps the gap between the titanium and the Damascus, there's a bit more room in there, so I had to kind of fill it in with more glue. It's not as tight a fit. So perhaps the titanium isn't in contact with the steel, and that's why it works on this ring. I just don't know. I don't know, but I'm just gonna go back over, machine a new piece of steel, and start this whole thing again. Finally, it's happened to me. So that's the end of the project. Right, Damien? Hey, Damo!
Hey.
Yeah, so that's the end of the project. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Had a few mistakes along the way, but that's all part of the fun. So this is off to its new home with my mate Sean. Hope it fits, and I hope you enjoy it, bro. You have a good wedding day. So yeah, that's the end of the project. If you enjoyed this video, then go and binge watch a couple of my other videos, because I've made quite a few now, and you might like to subscribe as well, maybe? I'll leave that up to you. Check out Dan from Sangreal Rings. I can't remember if there's any other shout-outs. Read the description. There's things in the description of the video. Go and watch some more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Whoosh.